Hello, everyone. Welcome to the return of YouTube Take. The boys are back in town. I'm, of course...
Oh, God.
I always have to start the show with one, come on, dumb pun. You can accept this. But I am your glorious host, Big Red 310, and my two co-courts with me at the moment.
Yeah, I'm Markeem Wyatt because I'm dumb enough to get beat up and join who beats me up.
I legitimately almost spit out my iced tea when I heard that.
I'm back. And I'm
Whoa. Okay, Phil. Enough of you.
God damn it.
Markeem Wyatt.
Markeem ruined it. I was really gonna come in I was expecting him to say Nightmareballa1 whatever, and then I was just gonna come in with I'm back. And then you went into Bray Wyatt.
Legit, is that not the dumbest thing ever though?
What
the Brian the Daniel Wyatt things.
Stockholm syndrome.
I actually liked it. I think it's stupid, but if that makes any sense.
Nope.
I like the way it went down.
I got you. Somewhat.
It's not really doing Daniel Bryan unless he wins the Rumble because of the Final Four.
We haven't done a show together in 3 weeks, and we've missed some good stuff, but we're going to cover it all here. As you know, we did the bowl season prediction show with myself, Markeem, and our good friend Michael, MC Hanskor, who did great with us on the show. So we'll start by talking about the bowl season. We all did terrible in bowl picks.
That's what I'm saying.
According to what I have here, Markeem, Phil, and Michael all went 18-17, and I went 19-16, and our friend Ben won by going 20-15, the illustrious best record of the group.
Congrats.
in quotations.
in quotations, best record on the group. Ben told me that when the time comes, maybe it'll be next week, it'll be soon, but Ben and Markeem are gonna have their talk about the bowl season. We'll probably do it around Super Bowl time when there's not a lot to talk about, and we'll definitely have that debate between Ben and Markeem coming on. But yeah, it was fun bowl season for the most part. A great finish in the championship game. I'll go to you, Markeem, first as our resident college football expert analyst.
Don't call me that. Don't call me.
Well, I guess right now I should be the resident.
They just literally pick teams.
I should be the resident college football analyst right now because I did have the best record of the bunch. But just tell us very quickly, Markeem, what did you think of the season in general and the national championship game with Auburn beating FSU? I mean, FSU beating Auburn 34-31.
Well, if you can't tell by our record, and most people around the internet's records that I've seen, this bowl season was one of the most unpredictable, shocking, and just flat out crazy bowl seasons I've ever seen. Whether it's a game being close that we didn't expect, or upsets, or someone getting blown out that we didn't expect to get blown out. It's been kind of shocking. And what a way to end it with the best game. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. All right, y'all gonna disagree, but whatever. Was it the best game ever? I don't know. I wouldn't lie for
I thought the last Auburn game was better. Personally.
No, but okay. But I'm saying
the best championship.
Was it I'm saying was it the best game ever in general? I don't know. Was it the best national championship game ever? I don't know, but I can tell you hands down it was my favorite. Okay. Because when Jameis and the Seminoles scored that last touchdown, there was still time left, and nothing nothing convinced me that it was over. All because of what happened before. It's booking. See, all because of what happened before. You just didn't know. It's Auburn. It's the type of season they've been having. Anything could fucking happen at that moment. It's not like the USC game when Vince Young scored that touchdown. I was pretty sure it was over. They have no timeouts left. It was 25 seconds left. I was like, okay, it's over. I mean, but with that game last night, no idea. Still on the edge of my seat. I was cool. Bama losing to OU was hilarious to me. Hilarious and just so shocking. What else crazy happened? UCF beating Baylor the way they did, just completely outscoring Baylor. Crazy. Rice getting blown out by one of the marginal teams in the SEC really kind of showed you that it's a 10-win team, quality team, against some kind of marginal SEC team. Kind of shows you the gap between the mid-majors and the power conferences. I mean, let's be honest here for a second.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there is a significant gap. You know what I mean?
No,
that's kind of showed it all.
Yeah. In fact, just very quickly, don't mean to cut you off. I think one of the reasons I did slightly better than you and MC did was because I know MC, his school is Toledo, and he because his school is Toledo, he watches a lot of the mid-major conferences far more than I do. But I figure that there's a talent gap there. Just like when you're recruiting, all the best recruits in the country, I would presume they would rather play in schools in the ACC, SEC than schools in the mid-majors, except maybe Louisville and UCF. So whenever there was a toss-up between a mid-major and a power school, I almost always chose the power school. And I think like one or two times, MC, maybe yourself, but definitely MC, leaned more towards the mid-major. And I think that's why I had and I'm not saying I'm smarter or anything. I'm just saying I just
it was smart.
I just didn't trust the mid-majors, so that's why I didn't really pick them. I think that kind of
I think it's way more significant than people realize, which why me and Ben will have our talk later. But it's just obvious. Like, the proof is usually there. I mean, there are exceptions, obviously, but it's usually the case. That game to me was the most shocking score out of all of them.
Which one?
Like, the Rice and
Mississippi State. Yeah,
because Rice won 10 games. That was a good. Mississippi State was a marginal team most of the year. It was just kind of crazy.
They did give Bama fits though.
For like a quarter.
They still only lost by like 13 points, which is pretty good.
Whatever. Whatever though. They were marginal for most of the year. Just average. Kadeem Carey completely showing out while Andre Williams didn't do a thing, pretty much confirmed what I was telling motherfuckers all year. That dude been beating up on bad teams. That's fine. 2,000 yards. That's beautiful. Kadeem Carey is the best running back in the nation, sir. Trey Mason being like 1A, 1B, both of those guys. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, it's those two. You know what I'm saying? And your boy Duke Johnson if he hadn't got hurt.
Hell yeah.
And and even Todd Gurley if he hadn't got hurt.
Mike Davis.
You said what?
Mike Davis.
Mike Davis. He's the next tier. He's the tier after those guys. He's the next tier. T.J. Yeldon in terms of skill is up there. I think he's just not as disciplined as those other guys I mentioned, including Mike Davis. You know what I mean? That's just being real. But the whole bowl season was just crazy though. But I want to talk about last night.
Go ahead.
Just that game and what it meant in general. And I'm gonna let you. Well, how did y'all feel about the bowl season? Then come back to me.
Okay, Phil, I guess I'll go to you first.
I thought most. I mean, a lot of the games I didn't get to watch, but just because of when they came on and stuff. But
and I watched every game except one.
But I really enjoyed most of the ones I saw. I mean, I watched some of Oregon, Texas. That one was kind of blowout, so I started leaving that one. But I mean, I like most. The one I would have to say was my favorite. It ended bad because I was rooting against Johnny Football, but Duke, Texas A&M was actually.
Oh my god, that game was incredible.
Really good. I think Duke choked it away. But that's just me. But it was good. I mean, it proved Duke. I thought it proved Duke could hang with the all powerful SEC. And the all-powerful Johnny Football. And
can we stop laughing at Duke now? Can people stop doing that? That is a good program. They're building something there, dog. Like, it's not a joke anymore. It's not a game at all.
And I like that the Duke coach isn't gonna. I mean, unless it changes, he's not going anywhere. Like I like that he wants to stay there and build it even stronger.
Yeah, Cutcliffe he's serious about it, man.
Because I'm sure he got some big offers too. But and of course my Gamecocks took care of business against Wisconsin. Only got. Had to work.
I know when you were watching that game, you was getting upset because you was like, "This rush defense is terrible, right?"
Well, yeah, a little bit. But then once I was kind of like, well, "Dang, we can't." Like all my cousins I was watching the first half with them, and I was like, they were like, "Why can't we stop the run?" And then both me and my cousin said at the same time, "Well, not the kind of runs all the time." So, but yeah, I mean, UCF. I can't believe that game against Baylor. I literally told my dad the day. My dad was like, UCF's gonna gonna hang with them, and I was like, no, they're not. Baylor's gonna cream them, so I looked like an idiot after that. But just all the games, and then for Oklahoma, I think Bob Stoops came out with a mission. He was on a mission.
Stop it! Oh, stop it! I'm sorry. Pissed that game away.
Was he
like he was terrible that first half. That had nothing to do with Bob Stoops. You know that kid that played Tyler Knight. You know that kid that finally played for him. He had him chilling on the bench all year. That had nothing to do with Bob Stoops. He played him because he had no choice. Blake Bell had a shoulder injury, and there was no one else to start. Don't give him credit for that. Don't give him no credit for that.
All right, well,
he's still garbage. Stop it.
Whoa. Time out. I think you could say Bob Stoops, isn't as good as Barry Switzer, and maybe he's a little overrated, but to call him garbage, I mean,
he's a garbage in-game coach. He is. He's a garbage in-game coach.
He did
garbage.
Boise State.
Well, they did just defeat Alabama. So,
what I'm saying, don't give that nigga credit for that. That team is very talented. That team is too talented to be as pedestrian as they were most of the season until the fucking end. Because he's a margin in-game coach, and any OU fan will tell you that. Promise you.
Let Phil finish, and then we'll speak.
Go ahead, Phil. I can't believe you just said Bob Stoops came out on a mission.
We'll leave it at that. But I'm just saying, I think with all his comments about the SEC, I think he was tired of hearing it. But I mean, I didn't, I like you said, first half or whatever. But anyways, Clemson, Ohio State, I think was good. I hate Clemson, of course. Well, I went to hate. I just don't like them. But we'll get there eventually. But what are you doing? You're distracting me.
No, just ignore that. Keep talking.
But anyways, but that game was epic. I thought Taj Boyd was literally going to just hand it to Ohio State there at the end. I thought Braxton Miller is a tough dude. He gained some respect from me in that game. And I guess Urban Meyer was trying to save him there towards the end. But and then the title game last night, I was about to die. I was about to just give up on football, college football. If Auburn, I would never. I was already hearing it. And it's on Twitter, on Facebook, it's everywhere. And it's please, Florida State get back in this game. And then to come back and win, I was so happy. So happy. I felt like I was that's just how bad it is around here. I feel like I was betraying my own team, which I wasn't doing that. I'm not an Auburn fan. I'm a Gamecock fan. But everybody is so pro SEC, and SEC can do everything. They can have sex with my wife and everything. They're just great at doing all things. It's God. It's can we prove that there are other teams out there? We know the SEC, and I'm not going to go on SEC rant, but we know the SEC is the best conference.
I'll do that for you.
I've never denied that. I've never denied that the SEC is the best conference. But let's just scream SEC. And not look at legit teams and how good they are. It's and then I I didn't see it till this morning. I just saw it this morning. One of my friends who's an Alabama fan, I talk to him that often, it's just a Facebook friend, but whatever, said this is gonna be tough for me, but ... let's go SEC. And he had an Auburn, he had his Alabama the logo as his picture on Facebook. I was like, you lucky I didn't see this last.
That would make me vomit.
I was like, are you serious? I'm sorry. If Clemson, obviously they're not in the same conference, but if Clemson played in a national title game, screw this for the state thing. I would have been like, no, I'm rooting for the other team. It just doesn't, it's you think Florida fans were rooting for Florida State last night?
Me? I was not rooting for Florida State.
I said Florida fans.
No, I'm just saying.
But Miami is probably a better example. That's probably a better rivalry.
We're both in the state of Florida, and we're both in the ACC. And I was like, fuck that noise.
And that rivalry is deeper. That rivalry is definitely deeper.
I was like, fuck that shit. Go Auburn. Did not give a crap about state and ACC pride.
But anyways, the thing I was gonna say was Clemson fans started shouting ACC, and then then all the Gamecocks fans would jump on them. I'm just that because that's what we have here. But it's they just kept jumping on. I was like, look, they're only doing that because that's all you scream every year is SEC when Nick Saban wins his 50,000th championship. And Les Miles gets a couple, and Urban Meyer's back in the. It's come on, it's stupid. Anyway, and then Auburn wasn't even the dominant team this year. Auburn just, they got, I don't want to say they got lucky, but they got two crazy wins, and bam, they're in the Well, they did win the SEC championship.
The argument could have been made they shouldn't even have been in the game.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I just.
You can for real make that argument. Like a lot of anti-BCS guys were like, they shouldn't even be in the game.
Right, and it's just like, anyways, not to ramble about it, but I just felt like I could just like a sigh of relief. They'll still say it because I already seen some people saying, "Oh, 7-1, you'll catch up eventually, ACC," and it's like, come, why? It's not, but it's just at least they can't. Their argument absolutely makes no sense now. Like,
but. My highlight from the bowl season was that the SEC went 0-2 in BCS games, so conference domination for that. I mean, I enjoyed a lot of the games. I mean, there were at the beginning I wasn't a big fan because I thought a lot of the games were kind of blowouts. I know that's how the bowl season is, but this season more than previous seasons for whatever reason, I wasn't enjoying myself at first. I was just like, well, I'm excited for this game and it sucked. I'm excited for this game and it's like 30-0, all this and that. But some of the games were definitely really good. The Duke Texas A&M game was my personal favorite. I thought the game was awesome, not just because
because you're a Johnny Football nut hugger.
Not just because I'm a Johnny Football fan, but
yeah, I like
no. Fan is not the word. Stan is a better term.
Asshole. But look, I thought the national championship game was awesome. But you have to realize, man, I fucking hate Florida State, and I get it. The game was a lot of fun. The game was great, but for me, seeing them win was very disappointing and disheartening. So why would that be my favorite game of the season when I just had negative feelings after it was over? That's not logical. That's like pro wrestling fans. You see a match that technically like has a lot of good moves and a lot of good stuff, but the finish is so horrible, it's all you can think about. And then they'll tell you it was one of like their favorite matches of the year because of all the great stuff that was in the match, even though the end result leaves them pissed off. Like it's illogical to me. Like I
hate that too.
I know that this game had a lot of great drama and it had a lot of great comebacks and everything, but like I hated the finish. And I'm really sad that Florida State won. I said this off air, but not just because I lived in Miami before I went to college, and I mean I live in Miami right now, but I know a lot of friends that are Florida State fans, aside from me hating the school for us being rivals, and man, after the game I was bombarded, like, oh my god, FSU reigns supreme. University of Miami's overrated. Like, we're the champs now. Like, you can't say shit to us. Like, all this shit. And it wasn't fun. And I don't like hearing that. They were, like, really saying, like, mean things about the University of Miami program, how we'll never get back to the glory days, all this and that. And, like, I just don't like hearing that. And that's why I didn't want FSU to win. I was really bummed last night that they won. But the Duke Texas A&M game I loved. Every game I liked watching the Rose Bowl game. I also thought was another.
I forgot all about that. That game was great too.
Michigan State Stanford. I saw that game in full. That game was awesome. South Carolina Wisconsin for most of the game. I was really enjoying it. South Carolina kind of pulled away at the end, but I still like that. Like I'm just going over the UCLA Virginia Tech game was terrible.
Oh my god. Y'all come back to me.
Just when it gets to your turn, you can go off on a rant. Ole Miss, Georgia Tech, even though the game was close, I did not like. I thought that game was dull. The Louisville-Miami game, okay, I guess now this is the point where we can all talk about our teams in the bowl season. Oh, yeah, and let's not forget Colorado State and Washington State, the first game of the season. That was great. That was great, man. Yeah,
and Tulane and
the Louisiana Lafayette.
Yeah, that game was great, too.
Yeah. But I'll rant first. The Miami Hurricanes sucked dick. That was the worst coached game I've seen in a long time from this team. Like, you would think that Louisville was the one that lived in the best recruiting state in the country, and Miami was the mid-major conference just struggling along, trying to make a name for itself. Like, we just got handled on both sides of the ball. You would think it was an SEC, a lower-tier SEC team facing a mid-major conference team if you watched the game. Like, we got owned at the line of scrimmage on both sides by the Louisville talent. Teddy Bridgewater destroyed us. Mark D'Onofrio, I'm convinced, is the worst defensive coordinator in college football. And if you think I'm being a homer, the University of Miami defense has been ranked 100th in the country and 109th in the country these past two seasons. Last season, at one point, we were dead last. Yes, worse than FIU, Toledo, Louisiana Lafayette, Akron. At one point, we were dead last in total defense in the country last year. That says a lot. So I have a lot of ammunition to say that Mark D'Onofrio is the worst defensive coordinator in the country. Al Golden, I used to be a big fan. I still think he's a great motivator, but the team has come out far too flat, far too often, and that's on him. I'm still mad that we lost to Virginia Tech and Duke the way we did. We should have been in the ACC title game. We should have had the rematch against FSU, which I think would have been really fun. I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
You think that would have been fun?
Shut up. I'm pissed as a fan. I am super pissed. I thought this team very much underperformed this year. I had high expectations. Before the season, even Markeem was like, kid, look at the schedule. It's very reasonable
They could
to
go
expect.
undefeated.
They can go undefeated, and I was like, I just don't want to get my hopes up, man. I get burned far too often by all my teams in Miami. And we'll get to that other disaster later on. But I got burned again. And the Hurricanes, I just thought in the bowl season, can you at least give me a good game versus Louisville? Winning is one thing. Can you at least give me a good game? And it was disgraceful. I thought it was the most disgraceful performance of any other team in the bowl season. Do you know that aside from Texas and Rice, the Miami Hurricanes scored less points than any other team in the BCS in the entire bowl season? And this is supposed to be one of the best offenses in the country. The third lowest scoring total out of any team in the bowl season. So it's not just the defense. I thought Golden and James Coley, the offensive coordinator, both did a very bad job offensively. I was pissed. I'm sad. So fuck the Hurricanes for now. Markeem, go rant on Virginia Tech.
Oh my God. Logan Thomas got hurt, so that was a positive. I didn't have to look at him the whole game. And here's the thing, he had that stupid run. So people were like, I thought you said he sucked. I thought you said he was terrible. You didn't see him throw the ball, did you? You didn't see that happen. You didn't see that 1-7 start to the game. You didn't see that shit. Look. We lost. I expect us to lose or whatever. One thing I will say is this. The one positive that came out of that game, and I don't even remember the guy's name, but the dude that backed him up, he looked okay.
David Neal or something Neal.
Something Neal, but you're right, something Neal. He looked okay. I mean, he looked all right, and that is good. That is a good sign because I'm just so glad I don't have to deal with this fool anymore. I'm so glad. Like, it was funny. I was with my cousin because, holiday season and all that stuff. He was down here. We were watching the game together. And when he saw Logan Thomas getting carted off the field, he was like, Marquis, you watch this from the other room. Marquis, you watching this shit? I was like, yeah, we didn't get carted off, but he got helped off the field. We saw him get helped off the field. He was like, Marquis, you watching this shit? I was like, yeah. He was like, yes. Fuck yes. I was like, man, he might really be hurt. He was like, I don't give a damn. I don't care. He was like, no more of this crap. No more. Now he can go on to being a practice squad player in the NFL and disappear from my life. I won't see him anymore.
His name is Mark Leal. That's the backup.
There you go. I knew it was something Yale at the end, but he was good, though. He was really good. Well, not really good, but he was enough for me to get excited.
82 quarterback rating.
Like, our defense did all right, did about as well as you can expect at first, and then it kind of got out of hand because couldn't move the ball, all that stuff. But you know what? Fine. The one thing I can take away from this season is that no more Logan Thomas, no more times where I got to wonder, is he going to turn the ball over? Like, yo, I don't even care if we don't move the ball. Fine, whatever. We're not a very good offensive team. We probably haven't been since Michael Vick was there, to be honest, which is fine. But and when Kevin Jones and Lee Suggs were, in the backfield and in tandem, they were good then too. But like since then, been kind of struggling to find ourselves offensively. Fine, whatever. I'm used to it by now. The one thing I'm not used to is us being on suicide watch, just out there, either 3 and out or interception. I'm not used to that. That's not Beamer ball. Like, I'm not used to that shit at all. I'm not used to our defense being backed against the goal line on our own 20. Like, I'm not used to that. Like, I'm glad I just don't have to worry about that anymore. So glad. Like, goodbye, Logan Thomas. I will not miss you. Will not miss you. Now, Phil, what you got to say about the Gamecocks so I can bring this all home?
There's not really much to say. There's one funny thing I'll say. Kind of wish Bruce Ellington didn't have a good game, so he wouldn't have came out.
I knew as soon as that game was happening, I was like, he is gone. He see dollar signs, he's gone.
But hopefully he gets a shot somewhere. I don't know. We'll see.
I think. Hold on, I hate to cut you off, Phil. I think he can be good. I think that He has hands, and he's probably the best blocking tight end in college football. And I hope somebody gives him a chance.
Blocking what?
A blocking tight end in college football.
He's not really a tight end though.
But I'm saying they line him up at tight end just so he can block on running plays.
Right.
I mean, no, he lines up at tight end. He's just a wide receiver.
Right.
He will play tight end in the NFL because that's what he's good at. Like he's not quick enough to be a wide receiver. He's just not. He'll probably be a tight end.
I think his height's gonna hurt him. That's the thing I worry about.
Look, man. That dude on running plays, he has the best technique in terms of blocking in all of college football. He's the best at it. Ask Mike Davis, can he block? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I think that who's a good running team? Like a team that, someone like, let's say, the Buccaneers or something like that, when Doug Martin comes back, they can use him. You know what I mean? I don't know. Even the
Vikings.
The Vikings.
Dolphins could definitely use someone to block for us. That's for sure.
I mean, he's good at it. Now, like Phil said, his height might be a problem, but he's good at it. He's good at it.
Right. And I don't know why I'm talking about a prospect. I'm about to say this, but it's like I'm kind of interested to see if Connor Shaw gets a shot in it. But I think he'll get a good backup spot, like you said. But
he's a perfect backup quarterback. Perfect. He's not going to turn the ball over. He's not going to lose you the game. Just come on.
I don't think he's your franchise guy, but I think if you lose your star for the season or something like that, he could probably save your season for you.
Perfect. You will not go 0 whatever because you know.
Right, because you lost him. So that's pretty much all I got to say.
Marquine, before you go ranting, I just have a general question. The Bama game, is that a result of that team not giving a shit, or is that a result of Oklahoma being more talented than we realized and Nick Saban not being prepared for that?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's more so Oklahoma being more talented than we realize. Because they always have fucking talent. They always do. Because Bob Stoops can recruit. It's not a coincidence that they underachieve all the time. Because of him. It's because of him. Since the first national championship, whatever you expected of them, they've done less. It's that simple.
And what about the Bama side of the game?
I think that Nick Saban wasn't ready for that. I think that he really wasn't ready for them to be as talented as they were. I think A.J. McCarron played a very up and down game, to say the least.
He had some bad interceptions.
Like he did that first one. My God.
He had some Andy Dalton-esque interceptions.
Like what the fuck, man? Because I could hear you, even though I wasn't around you. I can hear you. See, when he's pressured, that's what he does. Like, I know you targeted him and you hate him for some reason.
I hate him.
Where did that come from, by the way? I thought you were like one of his biggest supporters. That threw me for a loop on Twitter.
Me?
Yeah.
No, McCarron, no. Kid is always.
That's you. You're like McCarron. I don't know. Maybe
I've always been. Okay, let me. No. I gave McCarron his props after the Texas A&M game. Let me be clear, because I've had to say it 10,000 times in the show. I don't know why Markeem and others on Twitter don't get it yet. I resent players that I think get more credit than they deserve. That's why over the years I've come to resent guys like Tom Brady, guys like Joe Flacco, and A.J. McCarron is another person that I think got way more credit than he deserved.
Yeah, him being second in Heisman voting, winning the winning that Lifetime Achievement Award, and that's fine. That's fine. But as long as he admitted, hey, I might not be the most talented player of all these guys. He admitted it, so I'm cool. And
whenever I see him get pressured, I've seen him. He got sacked 10 times this year before that game. I mean, that's absurd. Like, do you know how many quarterbacks in the NFL in college football right now would be seen as top threat NFL level prospects with that? Like,
could you imagine Teddy Bridgewater with that much protection?
Like, it's just not. That's why I don't think he deserves as much credit as he gets. Albert Breer said that one NFL general manager said he would consider taking A.J. McCarron as the first quarterback in the draft. And when I read that, I was like, what the fuck, man?
It's ridiculous.
Like, I hate players that get too much credit. And A.J. McCarron, in my opinion, got too much credit. And in this game, when his offensive line didn't give a shit, and I'll say that because they allowed 6 sacks in that game.
Which is weird for Bama.
They allowed 10 the whole season. They allowed 6 in that game. That's just absurd. But he got pressured and he played like... I'll say he played up and down because he had some nice throws. I will admit, but I thought it was one of his weaker performances of his career.
It probably was the weakest.
Yeah. All right, but here now you can go on whatever rank you want to go on for the national.
All right, let's see. Before I say anything though, I didn't say it yet, but props to Auburn. Like on this season, this phenomenal, incredible, unbelievable, improbable, all the other superlatives you can throw at them season. Because I didn't think I'd even be mentioning the word Auburn. What's today? January the 7th. And the 7th. Yeah. I didn't think I'd be mentioning that word. So props to them. Because that is kind of unbelievable. They go from 3-9, you know, in conference and then winning the fucking. That's ridiculous. That like word. I can't describe it, man. I just can't. Like, especially how they were able to get here. It's phenomenal. Gus Malzahn probably got NFL coaches calling him during that fucking game. Like, you know, it was incredible. Okay, but SEC fans. I just want to laugh at y'all real quick because let me bring something to y'all attention. See, I use the word fan loosely because there's only one time a year you see this happen, right?
Yeah.
Around the national championship game. That is essentially when girls watch basketball and they go.
Not exactly true.
You said what?
I say I hear it anytime SEC plays.
But I'm saying you hear it the most.
The most, right?
Time of year. Right. From people that you've never even heard say anything about anything involving college football. Like, you know how many pound SEC tweets I saw last night from niggas I ain't even ever seen watch college football ever.
Me too, yeah.
But here's the thing though. Y'all are casual fans. I know that's like the biggest insult you can give someone that's a fan of something. Let's call it what it is. You knew nothing of FSU's defense. You knew nothing of their offense. Y'all saw Jameis Winston and the fact he wasn't in the SEC and overrated. Didn't deserve the Heisman Trophy. You look at his numbers, he did not have the best numbers in college football. That was probably either Bryce Petty, Derek Carr, or Jordan Lynch, or even Johnny Manziel. But there's a reason he won the Heisman Trophy. It's because he's been in 4 big moments this season. His debut, the ACC championship game, the Clemson game, and last night. And the one thing he has in common is that either he kills you, or when it matters, he shows the fuck up. In that Auburn game, in the first half, he was terrible. I mean, let's just call it what it is. He was terrible. The fourth quarter, he was a Heisman Trophy winner. And the whole game, all I saw was Jameis Winston is overrated. Jameis Winston is this. He's supposed to be that. Like, I don't see anything because he ain't played nobody all year. I didn't hear anyone say that in the last drive, did it? They didn't hear anything like that. Y'all crack me up because y'all have proven time and time again that y'all just tune in for the national championship game. Like, now it is proven. So I don't want to see this at all anymore for the next few years. Not at all. Not at all. I don't want to see any more Roll Tides. I don't want to see any more, SEC strong. None of that shit. Nothing. No matter what happens, nothing. Because the silence on my timeline last night, fucking beautiful. Fucking beautiful. And it bothers me because I actually like Auburn, like I said. But I was so heavy FSU last night. But I also want to talk about the end of the BCS. Before y'all niggas jump on me, hear me out. A lot of people don't realize that the BCS was actually progression. Mike Greenberg, who I totally cannot stand, I think he's one of the dumbest men to talk about sports on television, brought up a good point this morning.
You talking about Mike? That's Mike. You talking about Greeny?
Yeah, Greeny. Yeah. He brought up a good point. He said a lot of people don't even realize that before the BCS came along, there was simply the bowl season. There was simply, if you won this conference, you played in this game. If you won this conference, you played this game, blah, blah, blah. And then you would play all the games, and then there would be a poll at the end of the season that assigns who is the national championship. Who's the national champion? Like, could you imagine in this day and age that was still going along?
Oh, God.
Going on? Could you imagine that?
Yeah, but weren't there more often than not, weren't there certain games that weren't like that were sort of labeled the national championship game?
Well, that one only happened when there's 1 versus 2.
Yeah.
Like that didn't really start happening until like the '90s, kid. Like it just started happening. Like, but for the most part, though, it was you played all your bowls, and then there would be a ranking at the end of the season, and that's ridiculous. Like that is ridiculous. You know what I mean? The BCS, even though not perfect, I hear myself. But the BCS, although not perfect, was definitely a step up from that. The one thing I will say, though, is that everyone's excited about the playoff and all that stuff, which is cool. That's fine. But do like I said last night, do whatever y'all want with this sport. But every sport has a thing. Has a thing. The NCAA tournament has March Madness. The NBA has the NBA Finals. The NFL has the Super Bowl. College football has its regular season. Like it's that simple. Because think about it this way: if there were 16 teams in the like Josh is saying or whatever, and I'm not saying it wouldn't work, but if it does, it does. It doesn't, whatever. But I'm saying, let's say it's too many teams, and it gets to the point where 8-4 teams, 9-3 teams are playing in a tournament for the national championship. What is college football's thing at this point? Because think about it this way: when that kick was returned, like when Auburn, the Auburn Alabama thing, would it fucking matter if like Bama would just like later on can just play in this playoff and then like what I'm saying? Would y'all even be talking about? Like it would be an amazing play that would be forgotten about in 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers calling that the best play in the history of sports and shit like that. Would it be if it didn't mean like if it was like a big regular season NFL game? Would it mean as much? I mean, the NFL has the Super Bowl. Nothing will fuck with that. I mean, nothing. It's that simple. Nothing. Everybody watches the Super Bowl. Hell, animals watch the fucking Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. I mean,
it's just the thing.
Because if you
do whatever the fuck you want. But if that thing changes, y'all can have that because it's not college football anymore. Y'all can have it. That's my point. That's always been my point. Do whatever you want. But when that changes, I am out. Like, I probably won't even do this show with y'all anymore if that happens. Seriously.
Whoa.
Because, dog, it's like, think of March Madness didn't happen with college basketball. Think of it was set up like the college football playoff. And it was the top 4 teams.
That would be awful.
And they played 7-game series. Or the top 8 teams in like this side of the country and that side of the country. And they played 7-game series to decide the champion.
That would be so weird.
Could you imagine how bad? Could you imagine how many people just wouldn't care about college basketball if that was the case? It just is what it is. People need to realize that. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's my main point. I almost forgot this. When I hear somebody like Ben complain about it, I listen more because Ben is in tune with college football. Ben watches all year. Ben is a diehard Georgia fan. He watches all these games. I'm willing to hear his opinion. When I hear motherfuckers that don't watch the sport complain about it, that's what bothers me. That's what gets me so upset. You know what I mean? Because when Ben says it, I will hear Ben. Because Ben know what the fuck you're talking about. When you have people that just pop up national championship time, like, I love Josh. Josh is my boy, but Josh in this example. but Josh explained to me why that is. When I hear him say it, I go, that's a good idea. But nigga, you don't even watch this stuff. Why do you care? Honestly, it's like a person that's not a wrestling fan saying wrestling is stupid because it's fake. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Did you watch wrestling? If that's your reason why it's stupid, then you have no argument because you don't even watch. You don't know what's stupid or not. You don't even watch it. You don't know it's fake. You just heard it's fake. You didn't see it was fake. I'm just saying, that's why I said if Ben says it, I will hear him. Kid, at first, not until last year, but at first, when you said it, I didn't want to hear your mouth. But Ben, you know what I'm saying? But Ben, him, Hans, niggas like that, I will hear it.
Now you hear me, and I haven't changed. changed.
Yeah. Even if Phil would have said it, I would have heard him out. And he has. But I would have heard him out. But
at the same
time, thing that bothers me though is that it's just these motherfuckers that just don't watch. Now they want to comment. They want to comment every year around this time, and it gets on my nerves.
And Marquise,
Y'all said nothing when Auburn returned that kick. Y'all were just like, y'all niggas that didn't watch, y'all were just so focused on that. But now all of a sudden, that same team that did that, y'all want to complain now at this time when you didn't watch all year? Kiss my ass. Kiss my ass. That's simple.
Well,
they played last night for a title.
One thing I'll say, Markeem, it's kind of like you don't really know until you start like I feel like I was at that point. I can kind of speak on this because like I was there at one point in my fandom, I guess is the right way to say it, where I thought like I was like I absolutely despised the BCS. I'm glad it's gone, but like I absolutely hated the BCS. I was like, we talked about the whole Oak State thing and everything. State, things like that.
I think it could have worked. I just think it was flawed. I think they relied too much on computers. I think it was more so people. It would have turned out better. I think that it still would have been flawed, but like it wouldn't have been as many niggas as mad as they are. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was too much computer work. That's just me. But go ahead.
Right. But anyways, I still have certain things that is the reason why I still stand by those things. But what my point is here is that I hated the BCS. I hated the way it was going. I was like, we need playoffs. We need I was probably one right there with LV. LV's one of the ones that wants more than 4 people. I wanted a lot of teams on. I wanted everybody to get a shot because I felt like because I'm an NFL fan more than I am college, so that was that's always been the case. But my thing is now if you watch more and more college football, like I started watching more and more, and then of course this show started and kind of really got me back into it. Marquinhos really got me to watch other teams, games that matter in college football, and it's made me a better fan. I think I don't know. I guess that's for other people to judge. But
last night you made me so proud, Phil. Go ahead.
But anyway, it's just you see it. Like if you just watch outside of your team, you'll see more. You'll see more teams. You respect other teams. You're willing to root for those other teams. And I think and now more and more. I guess I'm going all over the place, but the thing I'm mainly meaning is that I've changed. If you give yourself a chance, willing to watch other teams and watch more of it, then you kind of see the importance of that. But you start to understand that there's other teams outside of your conference that there's a lot of dick riders out there of your conference, which we've already gone over that. But like you just start seeing stuff, and like I said, the one loss team, you lose one game, and it's like your national championship is chances are gone, and it's like. I don't know. I just feel like that I've changed from there. Like now I kind of see the importance of the one game. Like yeah, it still sucks that one loss teams can still make it. So I don't know. Well, it's just I guess what I was basically trying to explain since my whole thing's completely gone. But like you can change. You can change is what I'm getting at.
You can definitely change.
Right. Like and it's like respect the system. Like I still hate the BCS. I will always hate the BCS. Because I want other teams to get changed.
I think what you're trying to say. Let me
right, yeah, I can't find my spot at all.
You now respect the regular season more than you did before.
Exactly, because like the Auburn team, just sitting back and watching that, like if I knew Alabama was just going to get another shot,
Thank you. That's my point. That is the charm of college football. Thank you.
Right, and I guess this is what I'm saying. I tried to make college. This is the point I'm trying to make. I tried to make college football while watching it NFL. And college football just is not the NFL. It's not.
Thank you. Thank you.
So quit making that's like me watching. That's like me watching, and I've done this. I've said this before until I realize. That's like me trying to watch the NBA and all of a sudden say, "Well, they should go to one game in the playoffs and not play series." Like, what? That's not like that's. You're trying to compare it. And make
that was
LeBron James wins 4 games. Bam, we're done. Or the Heat. Anyways, like that's what it would be. Like it's just stupid. Like you got to understand that. And I want the playoffs. I'm glad there's going to be 4 teams because I feel like you're going to have some great extra games to decide it. Like 4 teams is good, but to go to 6, you can't go to 6. But to go to 8 and go to 16, sorry, God, the 16, like it's just I don't think it's like it makes sense in the. I always mess this up, but it makes sense in the FCS. But like because there's just a lot more even teams. Like if that makes sense, maybe more teams.
Yeah. The competition level is way more even in the FCS.
North Dakota State just has dominated the last 3 years.
But no, because a lot of those guys they aren't really recruited. They're walk-ons.
Right.
I mean, like a lot of those dudes, they just walk on.
Walk-ons, right? But the point, I guess, to sum this up, I'm just saying, like, give it a chance. Like, don't just completely like don't scream, oh, we need 8 teams, we need 8 teams. Because eventually, can you imagine if we had 8 teams? Like, you're going to get, I don't know who I can't think of right now.
I think it could work. I think there's a way to appease everybody. I just hope they do that. I hope it does not turn into what the NFL is, where I see a game and it's supposed to be this big game, but then is it really a big game? Like, I just hope it doesn't turn into that. I'm serious. I'm so serious when I say that, y'all. I really don't want that to happen.
No, yeah, I mean, but just to give Ben's side of the argument before we have this debate, just remember, anything you lose by adding more games to the playoffs, that's also a lot of stuff that you gain. Say what you want about the NFL, but some of the most memorable moments over the past 10 years or so have been in the playoffs. And if you go and expand to 8 teams, I mean, and I'm not saying expand to 8, I'm fine with 4, but if you expand to 8, you do open the door for a lot of memorable playoff moments. And let's be real, Auburn was a 1-loss team, and they made it to the national championship game. I'm looking at the final top 25 teams right now. The only 3-loss team that didn't get its 3rd loss from a BCS game is Louisville, and LSU, and they're ranked 15th. That's, I mean, yes, could a 3-loss team make the 8th spot and maybe run the table? Possibly, but I'm just looking at the final rankings.
Like I said, all this is fine. Whatever y'all guys do, it's cool. The second that happens, goodbye.
I get you. I completely understand. But like I said, just looking at LSU right now, LSU ranked 14th. 14th in the final rankings. That's a good distance away from 8. It would be tough. And besides, there are 10-6 teams that win the Super Bowl. There are 9-7 teams that win the Super Bowl. I don't think an 8-8 team's ever won the Super Bowl. That would be the same thing. Like, can it happen? Do 8-8 teams make the playoffs? Yes. But the odds of a team like that running the table are very small. So, I would be good about that.
And by the way, I'll add this on real quick.
No,
Jones,
fine.
Just real quick. Go. Jerry Jones said that he wants 2 more teams in the NFL playoffs. Heck no. No, 4 more teams. He wanted 2 on each side. That would be utterly ridiculous.
No worries.
Ridiculous.
Because you know what? Even y'all owners think that our regular season don't matter. Seriously, look at that.
But I'll say this: one hook for the NFL.
But it means nothing coming from Jerry Jones, Mister. We missed the postseason last week of the season every year, so it means nothing coming from him.
Well, but again, what you also failed to mention, acting like the NFL regular season is just pointless and all this and that. One of the best parts about the NFL regular season in the last few weeks are the intriguing playoff scenarios that happen when teams win or lose games. That's why Pittsburgh, although it might have offended you that an 8-8 team could make the playoffs, a scenario like Pittsburgh making the playoffs added a lot of drama and excitement to the season.
I'm not doubting it. I think that's part of the playoffs. You know what I mean? That's part of y'all playoff charm. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
Did I not give the NFL playoffs all the credit in the world? I'm just saying that a lot of times when they say this is such a huge game in the regular season, it's not. It just ends up not being one.
Speaking of the playoffs, now that's a great transition.
Good job, kid.
You see, I'm a good host.
Good
What
job.
can I say? That's a transition.
Good job, Carrie Champion.
That's a good. That's a great transition to the NFL playoffs. As you know, the Wildcard weekend was last week. The final teams to make the final rankings were that the Broncos won the 1 seed, followed by the Patriots. Then the Bengals and the Colts won their divisions, and the wildcard teams were the Chiefs and the Chargers. And on the NFC, the Seahawks and the Panthers won the top seeds, with the Eagles and the Packers also winning their divisions, and then the Saints and the Niners won the wild cards. I would just like to point out that on this very show, many moons ago, I, Big Red 310, was the only one to have the Carolina Panthers as the 2 seed. I know Marquise had them in the Super Bowl, but I said flat out they're going to win the 2 seed. I don't care what you all say. I think they're better than the Saints, and I think they'll win the 2 seed. And they did.
But you know, that guy on the Ask FM was like, well, he shouldn't get credit for that because he said that they would be the worst team in the NFL. Yeah, like a lot of other people. Faggot.
I never said the Panthers would be the worst. I didn't think they'd be like what they were. But yeah.
You said they'd be one of the worst teams in the NFL.
No. I didn't say they'd be the worst. I had them winning 5.
You said games. If not the worst. That was like your next sentence.
5, 6 games. That's what I gave them. That's horrible. Don't get me wrong. But I picked him in the 2 seed, so that guy can go suck my dick. But still, anyways, moving on. I also did have the Lions winning their division and the Cowboys, so I guess that didn't
so
work
You
out
got to stop doing that. You did it last year too. Stop with the Cowboys.
Also.
Well, you had the Lions winning the division, and you have on your record that you would never pick them ever again.
I mean, I had them winning because I thought Aaron Rodgers wasn't coming back.
I know I have to stop with the Cowboys, my irrational Dallas Cowboys love. But what can you do, man? I love Tony Romo. Tony Romo, 4th best passer rating in the clutch, quote unquote. He's a great quarterback. But anyways.
Had the best game in Dallas Cowboys history. You think about those quarterbacks like Staubach and Aikman that played there, yet Romo's a bum. I don't understand that logic. Whatever. Well, people act like he's a bum. Like, he's not a bum.
Trademark went back. I don't know. He's kind of a creep. But Trademark went back and showed me a video. The video last year, it was just me and Markeem talking about the playoffs the week before the playoffs. And it was the week before the Romo Redskins game where Romo threw 3 picks. And apparently I went back and listened to it. I actually said on the show, like, Romo's got to step up. Enough of this losing. Even if he plays great and the team loses, it's his fault. I'm just, appalled at myself for thinking that a year ago. I just hate the idiotic logic of blaming losses on a quarterback, and I just think a year ago we were in the wrong. But nonetheless,
sometimes it's true, but not the way people act. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's true, but not all of the fucking time.
Alex Smith, the highest winning percentage in the NFL. I think that kind of settles that. But anyways, the playoffs for this past weekend, for the most part, we got the most of the stuff right. We all had the Seahawks winning the 1 seed. We all had the Broncos, Patriots, Bengals, Chiefs, and Colts making the playoffs. I did not have the Dolphins. Neither did Markeem. Phil did. We picked the wrong wildcard team, but same idea. Fuck the Dolphins. If I could just very quickly take the floor, it won't take too long with the Miami Dolphins here. The Miami Dolphins epically collapsed. They gave me my most disappointing Dolphins experience ever. And that says a lot, because all I do is bitch about this team.
Jesus.
All I do is bitch about this team on this show. Last year they were 7-9, and you guys and all the NFL analysts were like, "Oh, come on, kid, be excited! Like, there's a lot to believe in this team." And I was like, "No, they're the Dolphins. They always disappoint me. They always make me miserable." And this year, this was a typical Dolphins beating the New England Patriots, being 8-6. All you have to do is beat the Bills or the Jets. Not even both, just one or the other. Really convincing your fan base that this is the year of change. This is the year where things change. This is the year where we finally show you that you deserve to be fans and we respect you and we treat you well. And then they just kick you straight in the nuts. Just like, I can't draw a game plan to disappoint your fan base more. I literally can't. Than being 8-6, being in the lead for the wild card, beating the New England Patriots, and then losing your last 2 games to 2 teams with losing records. I just can't. I'm appalled. I'm saddened. I'm frustrated. And if you guys remember back in week 7, week 8, I was telling you all, oh yeah, the Dolphins will beat the Bengals, but it won't matter. It didn't matter. Nothing the Dolphins do matter. They can't get the job done. They can't. I'm done with Joe Philbin. I've given up on him. I gave up on him after the Bengals game, but now I'm really done with him. I thought the last 2 games, he coached terribly. I thought Mike Sherman, the offensive coordinator who just got fired, was terrible. I thought Kevin Coyle, the defensive coordinator, should be on a short lease because he has a lot of talent and they play terrible, even though we have a lot of talent on defense. And GM Jeff Ireland got fired today. That's great news. Jeff Ireland did some decent things last season. It wasn't his worst season as our GM, but he's been...
hold on. Kid, I hate to cut you off. A little bit off topic. Jabari Parker had 12 points on 4 of 12 shooting tonight. Go ahead.
All right. But
I'm tired of hearing about this dude. Go ahead, kid.
But
I just saw that scrolled across the screen, but go ahead.
Jeff Ireland's been our GM since 2008, and we made the playoffs once in that time span. It's horrible. We've had 5 straight no playoff seasons with him, and he never got fired. That's incredible. That's one of the most amazing tenures in NFL history. Like, you can't find someone given that much leeway. You can't find a coach, a general manager, anything to have that many losing seasons in a row and still keep your job. Like, it's
kid, was it really a mutual split, or did he just get fired?
Apparently, they told him that they were going to strip him of all his power. that he wouldn't be the ultimate decision maker on personnel if he stayed. And he was like, well, fuck that. I don't want that. I want to be the GM. And they're like, well, we're not going to make you the complete GM. We're going to promote you, believe it or not, but you just can't make all the main, you won't be the only one making personnel decisions anymore. And then he was like, well, I'd just rather leave. So it was mutual. They purposely stripped him of power as a way to gauge him, I think to goad him into quitting. So it was mutual. They both agreed it was best to split ways.
Okay.
But fuck him, honestly. He has run the most mediocre stretch in the history of the Dolphins. The worst stretch in franchise history has been these past 5 years, statistically. That's why he deserved to be fired. I don't care if us blowing the playoffs this year wasn't his fault. He gone, and I'm happy he gone. And I'm just, Joe Philbin may stay. That pisses me off. I hope he's gone too, because he's just not a good coach, in my opinion. He doesn't know how to motivate. He doesn't know how to out-coach the best coaches in the NFL on one day.
I think he's in the wrong decade.
Yeah.
If he was in the 60s or 70s, he'd be winning Super Bowls right now.
He just isn't. He's not someone that the Dolphins franchise need in 2014. So, yeah, I'm a jaded fan. Always will be a jaded fan. Dolphins blew it. Wasn't even that surprised, honestly. On Sunday, the day of the Jets game, I was like, I don't want to go to this game. They're going to blow it. They are going to blow it. We should have had a podcast the week before that Jets game. I would have told you all, yo, they're going to blow this because this is what the Dolphins do. They just blow it. So, yeah. I'm a miserable, before all of you go on Ask FM and Ask Markeem or Trademark or any of these other people or comment on YouTube or send me Twitter messages, yes, deal with it. I'm a miserable Miami football fan. Always will be until things fucking change around here. That's just the way I'm going to be. Because I will not settle for mediocrity anymore, goddammit. I'm tired of all my teams winning between 6 and 9 games. No more, no less. 6 to 9 games in both sports, in NFL and in college football.
What you can take solace that when college football, when the football season in general is over, you got the NBA and y'all gonna be winning championships as long as you got number 6.
No, it's actually like a bylaw in like Miami sports fans. There are two main sayings. One of my friends said this after the Canes got massacred by Louisville. Our two best sayings are there's always next year and at least we have the Heat. And I'm not denying that. That's why I no longer call us the most miserable city in all sports, because we do have the Heat. I'm talking about but football is my favorite sport. I love the Heat. I love basketball. I play basketball more than I play football. But football's still my favorite sport. And in my favorite sport, I want to see my teams do well. And to see them year after year just constantly be the same shit, it's just frustrating. And that will never change. And so, yes, I will still say that as far as football and purely football, I will say that Miami has it worse right now than many other places. I'm not saying it's the worst, but it's worse than a lot of other places because it's just filled with disappointment. Just a way to build up your hope and break it down. That's what we do best. That's what we do best in Miami. The Hurricanes will be competitive with FSU for a half, then get killed, and then fucking not even make the goddamn title game. That's just Miami. That's what we do. At least we have the Heat. Thank God.
It could be worse. Your team could be honest, have progress for the first year in a while, and let's fire coach.
Oh my fucking God!
All right, Raiders, Browns.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a little bit when we get to that segment. But just so you guys know, I'm officially convinced that the worst football weekend ever possible imaginable for a fan is having to sit through Miami, Louisville, and then the very next day, Dolphins, Jets. Like it can't get worse than that, right? It just can't. Like unless it's like a national championship and a Super Bowl, like it just can't get worse.
God, that would really suck.
Like it just can't get worse than watching your team get embarrassed in their first bowl game in years, and then the very next day watch your team get embarrassed at home with a chance to make the playoffs against a team that sucks. God, you blow. But anyways, playoffs. Wildcard weekend was last weekend. Now that I'm off that tangent.
Phil, you go first, or one of y'all go first, because I'm kind of engaged in this basketball game right now.
All right, fine. Phil will start first. So, the first games, the games were the Bengals and the Chargers, the Packers and the 49ers, the Chiefs and the Colts, and the Saints and the Eagles. Phil, what are your thoughts we'll start on the AFC side. Colts, Chiefs, Bengals, Chargers. Just very quickly, your thoughts on both those games.
What the heck just happened?
There was just a slight glitch in the recording, but don't worry about it. We're recording now. Just like, what was your thoughts on those two games?
As far as Chiefs Colts, I will say that what happened to the Chiefs defense.
Yeah, they played. They have been one of the worst defenses in the NFL in the past few weeks.
I mean, obviously the Chiefs are calling. I mean, what did they lose? Like 4 of the last 6 or something like that?
No, more like 6 of the last 8.
Oh, 6 of the last 8, so even worse. 500 plus yards to the Colts. I know Andrew Luck is great and everything, but all they have is him and T.Y. Hilton as far as offensive weapons. So it's like, not counting running backs, but it's like, and Kobe Fleener, I guess, but like 500 plus yards, like come on. And then it's like, first, I mean, to me, the only reason the game was, like, looking back at it now, the only reason why the Chiefs had that big of a lead is because the Colts Andrew Luck was turning the ball over. I mean, I'm giving some blame to him, but just in general, like when you do turnovers, it's kind of remind me of the Patriots Broncos game. It's like the Broncos had that big lead because Patriots kept turning the ball over. Then once the turnover stopped, what happened? The game got close again. So it's like I kind of feel like that's what happened in the Chiefs Colts game. Not exactly the same, but it's like Chiefs. I mean, like I was ready to crown Andy Reid as coach of the year after I've been on the Chiefs all year, and then it's like they did this exactly what I thought. And it's like, I mean, I picked the Colts to win the game, but Andrew Luck was special. I know Markeem had a great moment on Twitter as he saw everybody marking out over Andrew Luck. So yeah, that's enough about that game. I guess the other game was Saints Eagles. One thing I'll say about this is, man, I thought for a second the Eagles actually were going to pull this off. I picked the Saints. I thought the Saints were going to win. I just thought they were going to get it done finally on the road. And it wasn't that crazy of a road game considering they were going to Philly. And Philly sucks at home a lot of the time. They were 4-4 at home this year. But they pulled it off. I think, like I said, I knew the weapons were going to be too much for the Saints or too much for the Eagles eventually. Just weren't running with Deshaun McCoy very early in the game. Like they started running it late in the game, and I was like, where is this? Like I feel like the Eagles could have maybe run it down the Saints throat the whole game, and it just seems like Chip Kelly waited too long to do that. But the Eagles shouldn't even been here, to be honest. So the fact that they got here was a step in itself. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I guess we'll see what these Saints do next week. But that game really didn't shock me too well. But it was a close game.
What about the other two games?
I thought we were going to go on. I missed the Chargers-Bengals game, so I can't really comment on it. I can only go on for highlights and stuff like that. But I can't believe, if you don't know, if you don't follow me or you don't subscribe to me on YouTube, since we didn't do a show, I did my picks on there, and I buried the Chargers. I forgot about the whole Bengals playoff woes and all that. I completely buried them and was like, there's no way that the Chargers are winning this game. Congratulations, you made the playoffs, but the Bengals are going to win at home. They were 8-0 at home, if anybody didn't know that. The Bengals were pretty dominant. I thought the defensive line was just going to be too much for the Chargers, but that didn't happen. Andy Dalton happened, apparently. And then, a couple other things. The defense just, when you're giving them, or where they're having to stop the game, over and over again, stop Phillip Rivers and stuff. And Phillip Rivers balled out too, but when they're having to stop them, and then it's like AJ Green, I saw a big, huge play, apparently, that he dropped a pass. And it's like, but just it seemed like after Andy Dalton, everything else was going wrong for the Bengals. So, but then we had the 49ers-Packers game where if Tom Brady had won, Packers would have won. But if Tom Brady had played, yes, Skip Bayless actually said that, and I actually was the one that actually unfollowed. Let it be known on my, I don't know, you don't have to put on record, but let it be known I unfollowed Skip Bayless because of something he said about Tom Brady. That's crazy. Positive about Tom Brady, actually. But anyways, it was just stupid. But as far as the game was back.
That's funny. That's what the chat.
But I thought the Packers. I thought it was the weather more of a factor. It was freezing cold, but it didn't seem to even faze the Niners, which they play outdoors. So that's not a huge shock. But man, I remember when Lambeau was hard to win at. What happened to that? Lambeau has just not been what it used to be in the playoffs anymore. But Eddie Lacy. The Rodgers did all he could with that awful offensive line. But hey, it is what it is. Niners moved on. I think the Niners looked pretty good. I was not too sold on the Niners. I know not a lot of people have them. We're pretty high on them going into the playoffs, but they gained a little more respect. And I see you, Niners. Let's put it that way. But we'll see. We'll see what they do in the next round. But that's basically my thoughts on the games.
All right, and for me, at least personally, the Echo's rough right now. So. I mean, I'm not saying it's your fault, but I'm just mentioning. So yeah, the God. Hopefully this is just like on us and just come out of the recording. But the Bengals Chargers game, I saw that whole game. Andy Dalton was awful. Andy Dalton really, really, really was terrible. Like so bad. And I'm not an Andy Dalton fan at all. I've buried this guy all here. I think he's very overrated. I've heard everyone call him a game manager, but Chris Wessling made this point, and I fully agree with him. Game managers are game managers because they don't turn the ball over. I don't know if you guys knew this. Andy Dalton is 4th in the NFL in interceptions. Like, he's only behind Joe Flacco, Eli Manning, and Geno Smith. That's it. Like, how do I say this? He does not have a great arm. So there are many throws that he makes that because his arm isn't that good, it takes the ball a long time to get to a certain point, and that's why it gets intercepted. That's the problem. Like with someone made this point about Colin Kaepernick, how Colin Kaepernick against the Packers made an amazing touchdown to Vernon Davis, that amazing throw that he made amidst the two defenders. That's because since he has an incredible arm, he was able to throw the ball so fast that it could get to the receiver before the defenders get there. With Dalton, if you watch Dalton, a lot of his interceptions, it's because since it takes the ball so long to get from point A to point B, the defender has just enough time to come in and intercept it. That was also Matt Schaub's problem this year with his lack of arm strength. Arm strength matters, and with Dalton, it's very clearly a problem. So I'm not a fan of Dalton. He played terrible. I honestly think the Bengals should draft a quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd round. Like, I really believe that, and they probably won't. Because Dalton, did you guys also know that in addition to being 4th in the NFL in interceptions, Andy Dalton is 3rd in the NFL in touchdowns? He's only behind,
no idea.
He's only behind Peyton Manning and Drew Brees. He's 3rd in the NFL in touchdowns.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and he's 4th in interceptions. Andy Dalton will always be an average quarterback, in my opinion. He's always going to be that guy that can get you to the playoffs. Maybe if you win enough games in the regular season and you get the 1 seed, which is possible, that wouldn't surprise me. And maybe in that game you play like a weaker wild card team and you can maybe get to the conference championship game. But I don't think you ever win a Super Bowl with Andy Dalton. And in my opinion, if you already know you're never going to win a Super Bowl with a quarterback, he's got to go. And I would give him competition. I'm not saying replace him, but I don't think it's unreasonable to ask the Bengals to draft someone in the 2nd or 3rd round. That way, and Dalton knows, hey, I got competition. I really got to play well, and see where it goes from there. Because Andy Dalton is better than many starting quarterbacks in the NFL. I will agree with that. But it's like Chris Wessling says though. It's the after Chris Wessling invented the after Dalton scale for a reason. If your quarterback is worse than Andy Dalton, he's not good enough because Andy Dalton is the best quarterback in the NFL that will never win you a Super Bowl. He's the best quarterback that's not good enough to win a Super Bowl. If that makes sense.
You know, they once said something about the same thing about Flacco though. So
yeah, but Flacco, at least with Flacco, when it was a big game and big moments, like, you know, Flacco always pulled through. With Dalton, and trust me, I'm not the biggest Flacco fan. With Dalton in big games this season, like when is he like played amazing? Like even against the Patriots, I would consider that a big game. He fucking played bad.
He did actually play bad. Yeah.
Yeah, his defense was just awesome. Against the Steelers, played bad. Against the Ravens, he had 4 interceptions. Yeah. Like he's not someone you can trust. Flacco, I could always trust. I didn't like the dude all that much, but I could trust him. I can't trust Dalton.
I think the thing here is like, it's like the risk value. Do you move on from Dalton and risk going lower than him?
Yeah. That's
or do you stay consistent to where you at least know Andy Dalton can get you to the playoffs? But like you said, I mean, if the ultimate goal is for every team is to get to the Super Bowl, are you okay with just making the playoffs every year and losing? Like, I don't think that's not going to be okay.
Like I said, I think your goal should, like I said, draft someone like in the 3rd round. Like, you know, that's not like a Russell Wilson type. I don't think that's too crazy. I think this year and next year there are enough quarterbacks that you can probably find one in the 3rd round that on balance might turn out to be pretty decent. And that's what I'm suggesting.
You sure about this year?
Next year. next year. Well, third.
Okay, I was going to say, because after this year, to me, after Bridgewater, Manziel, and Broyles, it's like, who else?
Well, I mean, I think prospects like Taj Boyd and Stephen Morris will probably go in the second or third round. And I'm not saying that
Morris will not go in the third round.
You think Morris will go earlier?
No, I think he'll go way later than that. I think he's like a 5th, 6th round pick, kid.
Well, I mean, after Louisville, I mean, I can't disagree with that.
After this season,
after this season, but he had 3 offensive coordinators in 3 years and a bad ankle and all that shit. But not to get on a side note, but watch Stephen Morris at the NFL Combine. He'll impress a lot of people. I can promise you that.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, I know.
Either way, quarterbacks like that, I think there's plenty of quarterbacks like that I'm not saying will be amazing NFL starters, but there's some you can take a chance on. And I agree. But if Dalton never wins you a playoff game, at some point, I mean, point you gotta cut loose.
Agreed, and that's my boy. Agreed.
I think I still kind of think it's more of a coaching problem. We'll get to that later.
Well, yeah. There's definitely a coaching problem. And as I said before the air, it's on my record. Marvin Lewis will never win a playoff game. So I was right on that one again. So we'll wait to see. But again, it's hard to fire Marvin Lewis when the team makes the goddamn playoffs every year.
It's one of those things. I mean, we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and say this part. Like, it's one of those things is, do you fire a coach that you know is going to get you to the playoffs every year, but a coach that you know is not winning, and maybe not even winning a playoff game, and not going to even give you a shot at getting to the Super Bowl?
Hey, the Chargers did it with Marty Schottenheimer, and at first, it turned out pretty good.
But the thing to remember this is also Cincinnati. You're talking about a city that before Marvin Lewis and Andy Dalton got there, and before Carson Palmer, they were awful.
The Bungles.
They were you don't really.
Right, do you risk going back to that is what I'm asking. Like, is being in the conversation good enough for you for right now? I mean, that's...
Yeah, like I said, you don't ditch the guy. But I don't think there's anything wrong with getting him competition. I don't see that being a horrible idea, because this team, oh my God, this is the only team in the NFL that is stacked at every position except the most important one. I can't think of another team that has everything perfect and the quarterback is a question mark. I guess maybe the 49ers last year is another example of that. Or 2 years ago, I mean. But yeah, that's it. But yeah, so that was my thoughts on that game. The Packers-49ers game and the Colts-Chiefs game. I didn't see the whole Colts-Chiefs game because I was doing favors the whole day for my family.
I did. Go ahead.
But I'll leave you to talk about that one. The Packers-49ers game, I saw the entire game, and I liked that game a lot. That was my favorite game of the weekend that I saw. And I thought Colin Kaepernick played awesome. I think Michael Crabtree is very underrated. And I think it's proof to my theory that just because you have a big name, Scott Kaxmer talks a lot about this. Everyone says, oh my God, Tom Brady has no receivers. But those receivers that he has, Julian Edelman and Danny Amendola, they're good at their jobs. They do a really good job of getting open. Many times when Brady's throwing it to them, he's not having to force the ball to this shitty-ass no-name receiver. Yeah. He's not throwing it to these, really bad receivers. He's throwing to guys that, get open. And, that's the problem. People think that just because you don't have a name, you're automatically a bad receiver. Michael Crabtree, he's not a huge name, but he's a big key to Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers playoff development. So
he had 1,000 yards last year.
Right there.
I mean, he's still not respected as one of the top echelon receivers in the NFL.
Oh, of course. What you was gonna say, Phil?
I said Deion Branch is a good example of that. I mean, he was huge for us.
And David Givens and
Troy Brown. Troy Brown's the best.
Troy Brown was a skill player. They put him everywhere.
That's the regular Hall of Fame. What'd you say?
I said he was a skill player. They put him everywhere.
Yeah, well, towards the end.
And I said this last year with Dennis Pitta. Dennis Pitta wasn't a top tier name tight end, but he was a big part of their postseason run. He saved every drive for them. He was always open on third down. So people like that matter. But the Saints-Eagles game I didn't really watch. Good for the Saints winning on the road. I didn't expect that one. But everything else I kind of expected to happen. Markeem, talk about your boy.
First, I want to talk about the Eagles because I want to do that first because our season is over. I'm very pleased with what I saw, even though I expected nothing from this team. Chip Kelly at times pissed me off this year, but I'd say he was more good than bad. Definitely was something different, which is what we needed. And Nick Foles, I don't know if he's the quarterback of the future, but I know he's the quarterback of right now, goddammit. That guy was everything to me and then some this year. Shady McCoy put himself in the conversation. Yeah, AP might be the best running back in the league, but I'm just saying, you know, nobody averaged more yards per carry this year than Shady. You know, led the league in rushing. You know, the best in the league at changing direction, making guys miss. You know, I'm not saying he's the best, but he's wearing the bestest uniform. I'm just saying. You know, I'm just saying. It's like Halloween. He dressed up as the best running back in the NFL. I'm not saying he is the best, but that's what he did this year. I'm just putting that out there. Just putting that out there.
You could just say he was the best running back this year.
I could just say that, but last year he was injured. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Our secondary is still a problem. That's a problem. That needs to be addressed. The offensive line played so much better this year. I'm so proud of them niggas. They was like at least top 3 in the NFL this year. They were so great. Nick Foles had all day to throw, and I'm so proud of them. Just standing ovation to that line, because oh my God, last year they didn't do anything for Mike or Nick Foles, but they played so much better this year. I'm pleased at where we're going. I think we need one more receiver. I think that we need help in the secondary. I think everything else is good. Right now I'm good with Nick Foles. Let's see what he does next year. Let's just be confident in him, because he came in and played all time great. You know what I mean? So let's just roll with him. And I'm really pleased. Chip Kelly, dynamite job. Maybe you'll win a Super Bowl, because the BCS championship definitely eluded you. Okay, moving on. I'm talking about every other game before I get to the Colts game. Packers and Niners was great. I thought that was a really awesome game. I thought that the Packers defense had, like Aaron Rodgers did about everything you can do to win. It's just the Packers defense at the end did not stop them when they really needed to. And it was just kind of sad to watch that offense Aaron Rodgers and those receivers who really kind of carried them, watch the game slip away. It was sad to watch. You know what I mean? They kept showing Aaron Rodgers on camera all bundled up, and I was like, oh shit, man. They show Randall Cobb with his head in his hands, and I was like, oh man, I felt bad for them. You know what I mean? I was just watching the game slip away, and then that field goal, and it was just silent in Lambeau Field. It was sad to watch. Kind of like the Eagles game. Just the end was sad. The Bengals and Chargers, Marvin Lewis fucked up the entire football week because the BCS games were great, and then we got that game that I will talk about soon, and then the other game, yeah, I mean, and then Marvin Lewis fucked it all up because we could have had an amazing football week, and then him and Andy Dalton struck. It was terrible. And Andy Dalton, like, you know, the kid pretty much said, that's my boy. I've defended him so much through the years because I thought at TCU he really showed me leadership. And, you know, something special. He could be something special one day, like one of those like middle round guys that turns out to be special. And I'm not ready to say that he won't be. I think that minus Marvin Lewis, who knows, he might end up being. But right now, you got to give him some competition. You know what I mean? You got to give him some competition and maybe not fire Marvin Lewis, but put that nigga on notice that, you know, hey, this just ain't cool. Like, you know, now the fan base is starting to get happy. We're starting to get a little confident. We got a little squad here. You can't keep losing in the first round. You just can't. Like Stephen A. Smith said, I thought this was hilarious on First Take today. He said, if the Lord himself told me that Marvin Lewis should keep his job, I would question my faith.
Wow.
That was amazing.
Wow, I didn't hear that.
He was like, because I don't see any logical reason this man should stay. And I feel like how Phil feels, like, you know, and how Kid feels. They were irrelevant before him. And it's just kind of hard to fire someone that has led you to the playoffs so much after being irrelevant. You know what I mean? It's hard to do that.
I mean, you just don't want to go. You don't want to go back to that. That's the, you know.
Exactly.
You'd rather stay there. But I guarantee you. I mean, people say whatever they want to say. Like fans say stupid things and stuff. But like, you would much rather be relevant every year than to go back to relevancy and never get a shot. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care. And if you are like that, then I question why you watch football.
I don't know, because
Like,
the example I used was my Hokies, man. Every year it was like at a point where we win 10 games, and, but we lose the big ones, and it got old, man. I rather suck.
Stop caring if your team suck every freaking year. Like these teams, like
that's because I did give up on the Sacramento Kings.
Get an AKA second team as all these other sucky teams people have, like
Yeah. But what are you gonna say? Yeah, go ahead. Kids, you were gonna say something, man.
I kind of agree with everything you guys are saying. It's tough to go back, but I would know this. And yes, Paul Brown is a terrible owner. I don't deny that for the Bengals, but this team has a lot of talent. I think if Marvin Lewis were to ever get fired, I think any coach in the country.
They would let his job.
I think even head coaches at like bad teams would like want to quit that job to come over here.
This might be the one Bill Cowher actually comes out for.
Oh yeah. No, this is a stacked team. But continue on.
It was funny. Did y'all see? I think it was NFL Today a couple weeks ago when Dan Marino just playing around was like, Did they call you for the Texas job? He started laughing. He was like, I'll never tell. That was funny. I was like, said that on our show. Oh my God. But what was I saying? Yeah. I just think the weak link on that team is Andy Dalton. Why do I hear myself?
Because Phil has a terrible recording system.
I don't know what's going on today.
But Andy Dalton is the weak link on that team, and it's sad. I really do like to do it. Now, I know what y'all been waiting on, even more than the national championship thing. I know y'all all have been waiting on this. Colts, Chiefs. The Chiefs look great in that first half. And, Alex Smith, I get on him a lot. Say what you will, but in the first half, that motherfucker was on fire. Like, he looked like an elite quarterback. Not a game manager, an elite quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, he looked like Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady elite in that first half. It was kind of incredible to watch. Not Aaron Rodgers. Whoa. Andrew Luck looked like, a bad quarterback. He looked like E.J. Manuel, Geno Smith, that type of guy.
Oh, don't say
what's his name? Daddy finally told me the truth. That was great. That was funny. What was I saying? Yeah, but he looked bad. And I was like, oh, man, like, I'd be so sad if this happened. Because this is a little bit of story about my date. Right before that, the Duke Blue Devils were getting embarrassed by the fucking Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and I'm talking about basketball, people. I ain't talking about football. So think about that. They were getting embarrassed, and Duke is my team. And I was like, man, come on. And then Andrew Luck, and then I tweeted, I was like, now I got to turn to Andrew Luck getting killed. Yay! And then they down 38-10, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? And Andrew Luck is just terrible in this first half. Second half starts. I can't remember what happens, but Andrew Luck, they're doing all right, and he fucks around and throws an interception. And I was like, oh, man, here we go. And then something just happened, and he goes, the defense just like, they say, okay, we're not getting embarrassed. And they just completely hold the Chiefs. Then Andrew Luck goes on this unreal tear. Like, with the offense in general, just unreal. Nigga, it finishes with 40 some odd yards. You know what I mean? And just destroys the world. During the game, there was a play where Donald Brown fumbled, and the ball travels about 3 yards backwards. Andrew Luck turns around, picks it up, and dives head first in the end zone. Internet just breaks. Like, Andrew, oh my God, how did he know? Andrew Luck. And I almost had tears running down my cheeks, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, it was so amazing to see this happen. Y'all understand, because I've been a fan of this dude since he was a freshman at Stanford. I just saw something in him. I was like, something's really, really special about this dude. His sophomore year, I was like, yo, he's really going to be legit. He's fucking huge. His arm is big. His intangibles are there. The kid just knows how to play fucking football. And then his junior year, I was like, my God, he is like everything and then some. And then his senior year, I was like, I don't give a fuck who the quarterback is. If they are older than the age of 30, they should not be playing over this guy. Like, real shit. It's that simple. That's exactly what. I don't give a fuck if it was Tom Brady. I don't give a fuck if the fucking New England Patriots had that first pick and it was Tom Brady. You know what I mean? I was like, time to go in a different direction. Real shit. That's how I felt.
Wow.
Just time to go in a different direction. I felt, well, I don't give a fuck if it was Drew Brees. I didn't care who it was. You know, coming in, like, I'm saying, like, coming off surgery and all that stuff. Like, if it was 100% healthy, maybe you hesitate. But, you know what I mean? But, like, the way Peyton Manning was, you know, having all those surgeries and stuff, I was like, dog, he's old. About 5 years left. Andrew Luck gonna do this shit for like 10, 12 years. And yesterday, because everybody that was not sold on him, Sunday, when that shit happened, it was like all these motherfuckers, like, y'all all saw what I've been seeing for years, and it was just so cool to see that. I bet me and Mel Kiper was like my buddy, we like hug it out, cause like he's like he said this since he was a sophomore. He was like, the second Andrew Luck comes out, he should go before anybody. Period. Because I've never seen a quarterback like him. And since the man I was gonna mention, John Elway, Andrew Luck, that's who he reminds me of, because that was so Elway-like, to be so bad in that first half, so awful, so, like, you know, even for as good as you are, you're the reason why we're kind of struggling right now, and to turn it all around like that and be the reason they win, oh my God. Y'all don't understand. I love John Elway. If y'all don't know, that's one of my favorite athletes of all time. Probably my, like, second or third favorite football player ever, you know what I mean? And it was just so cool to see that, because I was like, was that not Elway-like? Like, he reminds me so much of Elway, dog. It's just incredible. Love watching this dude, man. Y'all don't understand. It was this chick named Ashley that I knew on Twitter. Like, you know, me and her go back and forth. She a big-time Ravens fan. And, you know, all postseason last year, I'm just fucking with it. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, this is the week they're going to lose, blah, blah, blah. And they only won the Super Bowl. I was like, I'm just getting off here. I don't feel like seeing your tweets. But she tweets, she sees Andrew Luck, never been sold on the guy until right at this moment. This is ridiculous. In all capital letters. And I was like, I told you,